So my little J. Walter Thompson story, Bert, when I came down to New York from Syracuse in 1970, didn't know anyone and wanted to be a copywriter, and I went around to every agency. I couldn't get a job, and J. Walter Thompson hired me on a Thursday, said to report on Monday to work on the Ford account. And on Friday, I got a call saying, we just put a freeze on hiring. And Jim Rosenfield and I worked together at CBS, but Jim was in the upper echelon of management where I didn't dare dwell, but one of my clients was Bloomingdale's, where his lovely, lovely wife worked, and I actually met you, Jim, through your wife. And she was, I will admit, in this case it's true, she was your better half. But Jim and I became friends, and I'm honored to know you for all these years, and I think you have a couple stories for us. I want that to happen.
But there's some people in this room who have had a great effect, directly or indirectly, on my life and on many of our lives, and it's sort of strange the kinds of crisscrosses, the interchanges that take place. Kay Koplowitz was doing some extraordinary things. She was managing a den of thieves. The owners of that extraordinary broadcast didn't talk to each other. They could not have a board meeting without a fight, so Kay had to manage these Barry Diller type animals at the time, and Kay did it in a way that was extraordinary. But Kay understood what loyalty is all about, and I was a little bit surprised. We went to Kay and we said, we have a little thing called the U.S. Open Tennis. And I'm concerned because a guy I really don't like doing business with called Ted Turner is trying to get that time that CBS can't broadcast, which was most of the broadcast time because it was all day and we only did the weekend finals and semifinals. And so I said, Kay, would you please buy the cable rights? She said, I can't do that. I said, if I sell them, I'll buy the cable rights and I'll give them to you. Will you do that? She said, that I can handle. And so we worked out a deal where she sold cable and we sold the television, and that went on for years. Now cut. I no longer have the chair of CBS protecting me from myself. And I'm with a company that I don't really understand a lot about called John Blair Communications, which was a sales rep firm. And we had a production company. And somebody came to me that I had come to know in London, and he said, David Frost was the person we're talking about, and he said, we've got a company, we're going to make 6 films, and I need to have foreign rights sold before we can get this thing produced. Do you think you could sell the back end of these 6 films? And I went to Kay and I said, I got six films for you for your network. And she said, I'll buy them. Sight unseen. Okay, the first 2 films come in, and her head of programming says, Kay, I don't know how to tell you this, but they don't work. The first 2, actually the first 4 of the 6 films, I can't tell. They were all shot in the same place. They were all shot at the same time, and the scripts seemed to be the same scripts. So we're not going to run the last 2. And that was going to be devastating for me. So I went to Kay and I said, what does it take to have you run those last 2? Because I understand we let you down, but it's not a financial disaster unless you cancel. And she said, oh, no, we don't cancel. We'll run them for you. Don't you worry about a thing. And Kay, to this day, because I've told this story before, it represents the kinds of loyalties, the memories that we have that stick with us for all this period of time. Now, you had a guy working for you by the name of Werner Michel, who was a character in this business that many of you may know. And Werner Michel, I called on him when he was at K&E, and we had a rather strange relationship because K&E had all of the clients where the agency of record was J. Walter Thompson. And J. Walter Thompson controlled all of the major brands, and K&E had the minor brands. And somebody called me up and said, your job is to get Lucy away from J. Walter Thompson Agency of Record. We got to get it over to SSCMB. And Werner Michel and I worked out a way. He sent one of his people out to California and holed up in the hotel room next door to the Lever Brothers. I've forgotten his name, but the Lever Brothers decision maker. And every time NBC would call, my guy would pick up and say, I'm sorry, he's not available. And so J. Walter Thompson was unable to make the deal. We brought it over to SSCNB, and we developed a interesting relationship.
We never could figure out.
Now, the point of my story is that when you go through things like this, you establish real relationships. So right after that, he said, I need a favor. And I said, well, I can handle that. He said, I want you to be available tomorrow afternoon. Well, I said, I don't know if I can do that. He said, well, you have to. Okay, what can I do for you? He said, just be available. There'll be a limousine that picks you up at 2 o'clock. We're going down to City Hall, and you're going to stand up for me. I'm going to marry Rosemary. And Rosemary was a very attractive young lady. Werner Michel looked, well, he lived to 90, and he looked 90 when he was 50. And we walk into this judge's office, and the judge is writing, and he's writing, and he's writing, and I'm going, and he looks up, oh, you're here for the wedding. Okay, Dad, you stand over there. Jim, you stand over there with the bride. I said, no. Dad is the groom. I'm the other guy standing up for him. And we did do that, and we did get Werner married, and he never forgot that I did that for him. So these are the kinds of relationships that keep this family that you've all joined alive and well. I'll tell one more story about another guy in this room. You noticed when we sat down for our picture to be taken, Eddie Blyer was one bookend, and I was the other bookend. And we've been doing that bookend routine now for about 60 years. And because when I walked into an agency, the receptionist, I told this story, the receptionist would say, yes, Mr. Blyer. And when he walked in, they'd say, yes, Mr. Rosenfield. So that went on all these years. Cut to, I made my way through CBS up through the ranks and got to be president, which only meant that I sold time and took care of affiliates. But finally, I got to be president of the group, and that meant that entertainment reported to me. And one of the things that I understood in this business was that there are two people who exist side by side, creative people and suits. And I was a suit. And so the creative department wasn't thrilled that they were reporting to this suit from New York. And I said to Bud Grant, whom I had known for many years, I am not going to interfere with your decision-making process in creating the schedule for the first time when we're working as the team. You are the creative guy, and I'm the suit. So I'm only going to make one demand. One thing we have to understand. Saturday morning, I don't want to see any more Bugs Bunny. They have a half hour. They expanded to an hour. And somebody had whispered in my ear that they were going to expand Bugs Bunny Saturday morning to 2 hours. And I said, no expansion of Bugs Bunny, and there's no answer. And we go, and they came in, and we had our upfront presentations. And I look at the schedule, and there's only prime time is listed. I said, let me see the Saturday morning schedule. And there's 2 hours of Bugs Bunny. Courtesy of Ed Blyer, the best salesman who ever worked in this business.